Hello. You are listening to Leo Story Lab, where stories help you learn English, slowly, simply, one story at a time. And today, I have a very special story for you. It is a classic, a story about love, about sacrifice, about Christmas. It was written by the American author O. Henry, and it is called The Gift of the Magi. I will tell it to you in simple, slow English, so you can listen, relax, and learn. Welcome to Leo Story Lab. Let us begin.
$1.87. That was all the money Della had saved. She had saved it little by little. She saved pennies here and pennies there. She argued with the grocer, the vegetable man, and the butcher to save every cent. Sometimes her cheeks burned with shame because she was so careful with money. But she did it for Jim. 3 times Della counted the money. $1.87. And tomorrow was Christmas. Della felt so sad that she sat down on their old cheap couch and cried. Life is made of tears, sniffles, and smiles, but mostly it is made of sniffles. While Della calmed down, let me tell you about their home. They lived in a small apartment. It cost only $8 a week. It was not a beautiful place. In the hall downstairs, there was a letterbox, but no letters ever came. There was a doorbell, but no one ever rang it. On the door, there was a card. It said, Mr. James Dillingham Young. The name Dillingham was long. Once, Jim earned $30 a week, and the long name felt important. Now, Jim earned only $20 a week. Della and Jim started to think that maybe they should use a shorter name, just D. Young. But every time Jim came home, Della hugged him and called him Jim. That was the most important thing.
Della stopped crying. She put powder on her cheeks. She stood by the window and looked outside. It was a gray day. A gray cat walked on a gray fence in a gray yard. Tomorrow was Christmas, and she had only $1.87 to buy a gift for Jim. She had saved money for months, but life was expensive. $20 a week is not much money. She had planned to buy Jim something wonderful, something special, something beautiful, something worthy of Jim. In their home, there were 2 very special treasures. The first was Jim's gold watch. It belonged to his father and his grandfather before him. The second was Della's hair. It was long and beautiful. It fell below her knees. It was like a brown waterfall. If the Queen of Sheba lived in their building, Della's hair would make the Queen's jewels look cheap. If King Solomon were their janitor, Jim would show him his watch every day just to make the king jealous. Della looked at herself in the mirror. Suddenly, her eyes began to shine, but her face became pale. Quickly, she let her hair fall down. It shone like a river of brown water. It reached below her knees. It was like a dress for her. Then she put it up again. She hesitated for a moment. A tear fell on the old red carpet. She put on her old brown jacket. She put on her old brown hat. Her eyes were shining. She went out the door and down the stairs to the street. She stopped in front of a shop. The sign said, Madame Sofronie, hair goods of all kinds. She ran up the stairs. She was breathing fast. Madame Sofronie was a large woman. She looked cold and unfriendly. "Will you buy my hair?" asked Della. "I buy hair," said Madame. "Take off your hat. Let me see it." The brown waterfall fell down. $20, said Madame. She lifted the hair with a practiced hand. "Give me the money quickly," Della said. The next 2 hours flew by. Della went from store to store, looking for a gift for Jim. Finally, she found it. It was a chain for Jim's watch. It was made of platinum. It was simple and beautiful. It was not fancy, but it was good quality. It was worthy of Jim's watch. It cost $21. Della hurried home with 87 cents left in her pocket. When Della got home, she began to think clearly. She took out her curling iron. She lit the gas and started to fix her hair. She had cut it all off to sell it. Now she needed to make it look nice. In 40 minutes, her head was covered with small curls. She looked like a schoolboy who had run away from school. She looked at herself in the mirror for a long time. "If Jim doesn't kill me," she said to herself, "he will say I look like a singer in a show. But what could I do with only $1.87? At 7 o'clock, Della made coffee. She put the frying pan on the stove, ready to cook the meat. Jim was never late. Della held the watch chain in her hand. She sat on the table near the door. She heard his steps on the stairs. For a moment, her face turned white. She whispered a small prayer. "Please, God, make him think I am still pretty." The door opened. Jim came in and closed it. He was thin and serious. He was only 22 years old. He had a family to take care of. He needed a new coat. He had no gloves. Jim stopped inside the door. He did not move. He looked at Della. There was a strange expression on his face. Della could not understand it. It was not anger. It was not surprise. It was not sadness. She did not know what it was. Della jumped off the table and went to him. "Jim," she cried, "don't look at me like that. I cut my hair off. I sold it. I could not live through Christmas without giving you a gift. My hair will grow again. You don't mind, do you? I had to do it. My hair grows fast. Say Merry Christmas, Jim. Let's be happy. You don't know what a wonderful gift I have for you." "You cut your hair?" Jim asked. He spoke slowly, as if he could not understand. "I cut it and sold it," Della said. "Don't you still like me? I am the same person without my hair, aren't I?" Jim looked around the room. "Your hair is gone?" he asked again. "Don't look for it," Della said. "It's sold. It's gone. It's Christmas Eve. Be nice to me. I sold my hair for you. My hair is gone, but my love for you is bigger than anyone can count. Shall I cook the meat now?" Jim seemed to wake up. He hugged Della, then he took a package from his coat pocket and threw it on the table. "Don't get me wrong, Dell," he said. "No haircut or shampoo could make me love you less. But open that package, then you will understand." Della opened it with her white fingers. First, she screamed with joy. Then she began to cry.
Inside were the combs. They were beautiful combs. They had jewels on them. Della had seen them in a store window and wanted them for a long time. She had never hoped to own them. Now they were hers. But the beautiful hair that they were made for was gone. She hugged them to her chest and smiled. "My hair grows fast, Jim," she said. Then she jumped up and cried, "Oh, oh!" Jim had not seen her gift yet. She showed him the chain. "Isn't it beautiful, Jim? I looked all over town for it. Now you can look at the time 100 times a day. Give me your watch. I want to see how it looks." But Jim did not give her the watch. He sat down on the couch and smiled. "Dell," he said, "let's keep our gifts for a while. They're too nice to use right now. I sold my watch to get the money to buy your combs." The Magi were wise men. They brought gifts to the baby Jesus. They invented the art of giving Christmas gifts. Here I have told you the simple story of two young people in a small apartment. They gave away their greatest treasures for each other. They were not wise, they were foolish. But in the end, let me tell you this. Of all the people who give gifts, these two were the wisest. Of all the people who give and receive gifts, they are the wisest. Everywhere, they are the wisest. They are the Magi. And so, that is the story. Two people, a small apartment, two gifts. They gave away their greatest treasures to each other. O. Henry called them foolish, but he also called them the wisest of all, because they gave with love. Thank you for listening to Leo Story Lab. If you enjoyed this story, let me know. Would you like more stories like this? Tell me in the comments. And if you are new here, welcome. You are always welcome at Leo Story Lab. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning. This is Leo. Take care. Bye for now.